A bit over. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Really tuning in to what they believe is the right way to live their life and the way to be there for others and to assist humanity, we have got to wake up. Because as Diane was mentioning before, we've been doing this work for a very long time and it still appears that we ain't quite getting it. Because we've sort of realised that there's not a single person in here that has got the perfect life, or are they just hiding that from us? Anybody wanting to admit that? So it is really important to wake up. Science has started to wake up. I work out at Gwingana, which is a lifestyle retreat in the Talabodra Valley, and I do Reiki readings out there. And 2 or 3 times a year I have the opportunity to go out and do a talk on Reiki in their beautiful little historic church that they've got out there. And I did it the other week, and when I do that, there's a lady on the coast called Dr. Karen Coates, who is one of the foremost GPs in our region, and a beautiful lady and a great speaker, but she also has a great interest in the natural health processes and in diet and in environmental factors that are affecting people's lives. And so she works in a very, very different way from a conventional GP, but she gives a talk to the newly incoming guests in that particular week when I'm there about epigenetics and how we can change our genes. We can change our makeup. We do not have to inherit the diabetes, the overweight problems. We do not have to inherit the cancers. We do not have to inherit those things anymore. We actually can change that. And I remember reading some years ago, Dan Brown, I don't know if anybody's read his books, I read all of them. Anybody else interested? Like, you know, Angels and Demons and Da Vinci Code and, you know, Tom Hanks Made Famous. I can't even remember which book it is, but one of them is about noetic science. And noetic science is the science of human mind motivation. What we think, we create. And how long have we all known this for? Quite a while. But now science is saying we can prove it. It actually does work. It does happen. And they've got all these different studies going on. And they have oncologists doing studies on Reiki to find out why it works when it's with conventional medicine better than if there is no Reiki in that environment. And why meditation assists, and why people go into remission when other people don't. And these are all the things that they're looking at. And of course, if you've, who has read or listened to or seen the Law of Attraction and all the stuff that Esther Hicks is doing? A lot of people. Esther Hicks channels an entity called Abraham, and she's American. She's absolutely great. She's fantastic. But the thing that always gets me is that she says if you can think positively about a particular subject for 68 seconds, it works, right? It actually becomes reality. It can't not become reality. So there's me walking on the beach every day. I'm a beautiful person and I always attract fantastic people into my life, and everything is so fantastic and everything is going really, really well. And I know that if I do this for 68 seconds, everything that I want is going to come to me, you know? And it's like, it does work, but we don't do it, do we? How many 68 seconds of each day do you take to just pour love and affirmation, if you like, or intention into a particular thing in your life? Who does it? A couple of people do it, okay? But does it work? Because sometimes you don't do it, right? And that bit, it doesn't work, okay? I listened to a talk a few months ago by a lady called Shay de Montfort, who is, I think, quite well known on the coast. And her story was a bit of a horror story about all the dreadful things that are happening on the planet at the moment, and what we have to do in order to raise our vibration and shift so that we don't have to become a part of what's going on, global financial crisis and all that sort of thing. And what she is talking about is that if you develop your psychic ability and hone it and really make it work, you will be aware of what is coming for you, and you will be able to avoid any situation that is either not safe or not pleasant for you. And you'll also be able to tune in to the people that are the right vibration for you, or the what does Esther Hicks say? She says the resonant frequency, that they're vibrating on the same frequency. And so you can then attract those people into your life. And we do it because we're all enlightened a bit at a time, but we don't do it all of the time. And that's what I teach. That's what I teach. But I teach it with discipline. And it's the way that I learned. But it's a little, obviously I've done it my way, but the way that I learned it, this is honest truth, okay? We used to arrive at the house where we were going to do the class, the psychic development class, okay? We used to have to sit outside in the car for 15 minutes with it turned off with no radio on and say an affirmation and over and over and over again for 15 minutes. And if anyone else that was in the group pulled up, you weren't allowed to make eye contact with them or look at their car. You had to keep your focus inside of your car. And at exactly 15 minutes that you'd been sitting outside and the lady would be watching out the window to make sure you were there, you would then go into the house. But you didn't go in through the front door, you had to walk around the house and come in through the front door, but you had to walk right around the house first. And at the door you used to have to take your shoes off and anoint your feet and put your money in the box and go into the room with your eyes down without making eye contact with anybody. And then you would go and you would sit in the room in New Zealand, in the middle of winter, in the freezing cold, with no heating whatsoever, and you would stare into a candle. For as long as it took for your mind to let go. And what you did is you looked into the candle flame and you had to think of 3 things that you could see as you stared into the flame, 3 things you could hear, 3 things you could smell, 3 things you could taste, and 3 things you could feel. And when you got the 3 things, then you could close your eyes and do a little mantra to yourself, okay? And just tune into the vibe. But as we got better at it, we had to do more things. And we actually got up to having to do 15 things we could see. And remember, you're staring into a candle flame, so all you can see is while you're staring into that candle flame. But do you know what happened? You would have angels dancing around the room. You would be hearing the voices of spirit speaking to you. You would have people touching you or energies touching you that you never even knew existed. You would feel warmth and energy coming in through your body that at normal times you would never ever feel it. So what happened was that as you let go of all of that normal, mundane, everyday stuff that's always going on, spirit could connect with you. And the work that used to come out of those groups was absolutely phenomenal. That's how I learned to be a psychic. I don't have such strong disciplines now, and when I teach it I am not as strict, but I am reasonably strict because I know that the discipline is half of the battle. If we have an affirmation and we say, okay, this is the affirmation I'm going to use today, okay, we don't just say it once. We use it over and over and over again. So when you come into one of my workshops, what we do is we do the same thing over and over and over again, but we do it in a slightly different way so that we actually work on all of your energy centers. How many chakras are people familiar with? Just shout out your numbers. Like, how many chakras do you work with in your own body? 6, 7, 12. Okay, in the class we use 8. And they're all the central chakras, but we use the thymus chakra as well, because Diane mentioned that it's all about the heart for me. Sometimes that's to my detriment because my head just doesn't get a say. And my poor heart is like, you know, doing all the work. But this particular chakra here, the thymus chakra, is the ascended heart chakra. It's been in our energy system since the beginning of this millennium. And it is probably the most important chakra in our energy system at this present time. Can anyone hazard a guess why? It's the thymus. Do you know what the thymus does?
The master controller.
Yeah, the master controller. It governs our immunity. It governs, in a sense, our energy. And what are the diseases that are out there at the moment? All of the big diseases are where the immune system is completely broken down. So this chakra is the one that will keep us healthy. Okay? So we're all going to wake up our chakras. I hope this won't stop you all sleeping tonight. You normally do it only in the morning, okay? But you just take between your throat and your heart, halfway between, normally where a lady wears her necklace, just here, this is where the thymus chakra is, okay? It's the ascended heart or the higher heart, okay? When we get into Karuna Reiki, we actually work with 3 different heart chakras, and this one as well. But this particular chakra, okay, this is going to keep us healthy spiritually and physically, and all we have to do is tap. Tap in 3s. We always use 3 because it's the Holy Trinity, Father, Son and Holy Ghost, really beautiful, but we tap in 3s to wake up our immune system. So the best time to do it is first thing in the morning in bed. Has anybody a bit sore there when they tap? A couple of people a bit sore, okay? So your immunity is compromised. In some way, shape or form it's compromised. I had one student who could only wear a sticker, which was turquoise on that, because it's the colour turquoise that represents this chakra. She could only wear a sticker because she used to get such chronic bronchitis that this felt bruised and sore all of the time. But through doing a lot of work and actually working with her father to heal her issues around feeling second best in the family, which was what was the cause of it all, she's managed to heal this issue completely, and she's able to tap again. But for some people that will feel quite uncomfortable. If it's uncomfortable, tap some more. Wake it up, okay, and start to get your immunity up. Also, I want to mention a couple of other things that are, and excuse me for repeating myself, okay, because I did a talk on Sunday and these 2 beautiful people were there. So. Oh, good, okay. Okay, if your memory is as wonderful as mine, you won't mind hearing it again at all. I'm just picking a couple of things out of here. When I advertise this workshop, I do 21 benefits of being psychic. Okay, and the first benefit is what I've just been talking about, gets you out of your head. I just feel that now that science is starting to recognise the importance of the role that the mind plays in creating our reality, it could actually turn the world completely on its head. Because as soon as science says, oh yeah, it's like, you know, people start to listen that haven't listened before. And so we're now starting to get a middle road happening where we're starting, the two, spirituality and science, they're starting to come together. They're actually not speaking the same language yet, but they're sort of on the same continent, you know what I mean? So it means that there is more of a mass consciousness beginning to be created of more people being on the same page and being enlightened. Okay, so no longer do we have to be that separate group that everybody says, oh yeah, they're a bit funny, they eat mung beans and do yoga, you know? It's like, it's becoming more acceptable. So it's really, really exciting. Now, the other one is that when we work in this workshop, and we will do a couple of these exercises, we actually reactivate all the energy centers. If your energy centers weren't activated at the moment, you'd be dead, right? Because they're always working. But they need reactivating or awakening sometimes. So in particular, the pineal gland. Now, any of you that have studied medical things will know that the pineal gland is like a gland in the center of the head, and it's sort of, when it's healthy, it sort of looks like a really ripe plum. Now, for most of us in this room, it probably looks a bit more like a shriveled prune. Okay, and it's a pretty amazing gland because they believe that it's the one that brings light and consciousness into our brain, if you like. So, and there's a lot that they still don't know about the pineal gland, but the pineal gland is connected to the third eye. So it's our clairvoyant ability. It's also our clairaudient, our hearing ability. It also connects to our throat chakra, obviously, as far as communication and that sort of thing. So this pineal gland needs to be stimulated, right? Because a shriveled prune is not much use to anybody. A child will have a beautiful, plump pineal gland, and we've got a rather jaded and sad old thing sitting in our heads. So there's a very simple exercise, which actually was done in ancient Egypt, in the center of the pyramid by the high priests and priestesses. And they used to activate that chakra. Now, the benefit of reactivating the pineal gland, ladies in particular, is that it reverses the aging process. Do this exercise for a week and look at yourself in the mirror and notice the difference. fine lines and wrinkles disappearing. A plumpness to the face, you know, all of that stuff. It actually reverses the aging process, okay, as well as helping to open the third eye. Now, when the third eye opens, it means that we see more clearly. When I was in my 30s, I wore glasses when I was driving, particularly because I couldn't see, and for the telly and that sort of stuff. When I started doing this work, I stopped wearing glasses, okay, because my eyesight actually improved. That's my physical eyesight. So it's not just your clairvoyant ability, it's your physical eyesight can improve, okay? So that's got to be a benefit for everybody with the price of glasses these days, and the fact that you lose them and stand on them and, you know, all of those things. Also, the energy in your body becomes so much more balanced when you're reactivating all of your energy centers. We did a couple, I can't remember, we did about 2 or 3, didn't we, on the weekend, but I'm going to do a couple of different ones. I am going to open the crown chakra with you before I start doing some readings. But I'd actually like, because it's the heart center, I can't not do it. I'd also like to open the heart center, the heart chakra. Okay, so those are the 2 that we will do. Now, I have to say, I'm extremely disappointed at the singing. The singing! The singing! There are only half of you singing!
High expectations.
Oh. So with this exercise, everybody has to do it. There are no pipers, okay? Do you all want to reverse the aging process? Is there anyone that doesn't? Thank goodness for that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to light the candle, and just to set the scene, we're all going to stare into the candle flame, okay? And I just want you to stare. I'm not going to put any pressure on you, but I just want you to be in touch with what you can see. If I'm staring into the candle flame right here, what I'll be able to see is Peter's leg, the little point of that really huge crystal that's sitting on the table, okay? But I can also see something glowing and radiating down to the left, which if I look at it, I can see that it's a little statuette that's got gold around it. But I don't know what it is. Now, when you look into that candle flame for long enough and you don't blink, you can see all sorts of amazing stuff. Okay? So I just want you to allow yourself to see, to hear, to smell, to taste, and to feel, just like you did with the rain. It's not hard, is it? You know, a raindrop, we can look at it with 5 senses. In every sense, we can touch it, we can smell it, we can taste it, we can hear it, you know, when it's dropping, and we can feel it. We can feel it on our skin or whatever. Every single thing in our lives, we have that ability to use those 5 senses. Does anybody know what the 6th sense is?
Intuition.
There's no such thing as a 6th sense. The 6th sense is the weaving of the other 5. Just like weaving the strands of DNA, the 5 senses weave together to create the 6th sense. So as a psychic, what a psychic is doing is they are using all of their senses and weaving them together to create an ability to be able to see further, hear more, feel more, understand more, right? So it's just an expansion of the 5 senses you already have. Now, that means that every person here is already psychic. They're just maybe not using it. Are there any psychics here? Oh, well done, Jades. Is that the only one? You're psychic, right, Diane? To the degree to which you allow yourself to be, because we all have exactly the same capability. We all have the same ability to do that, because we all have those 5 senses. Now, the clever ones amongst you will be saying, so okay, what if somebody's blind or deaf or whatever? What they do is they hone their 4 senses to a higher frequency so that they can still become psychic and clairvoyant. Okay? They actually use the 4 senses or the 3 senses that they have, and they hone them to a greater vibration so that they can use them. Make sense? Any questions? Okay, I'll light the candle and you can all have a stare. Now, is there anybody that can't see the candle? Because you're welcome to come round here. 3 months there's going to be a big shift and it's going to feel so much better for Anne. Don't I sound professional because I know people's names? I will get to a few that I can't remember probably, but oh. Really yours, Kay? Oh my goodness. Okay, oh wow, okay. I don't know Anne very well. She's sort of a patient at my other job. I work 3 jobs, so, you know, it's variety is the spice of life, they say. We've got the Star, the Devil, and the Tower. Does anyone read tarot? Because you're sort of like going, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, what you wish for is very, very important, and it's the whole thing about the power of what we think is what we create. That is extremely important for you at the moment, because it's almost, the feeling to me is like, I come from England and they used to do tug of war with these big thick ropes, and you're at one end and everybody else seems to be at the other end, and it's like you're trying to pull it this way little by little, and then suddenly it gets tugged back again, so you're feeling a bit sort of stuck with everything. What it's showing here, like the Tower, is things need to change. So there is because you've got like 3 what we call major arcanas, there is a major shift that is coming up. Now, the biggest part of that is going to feel exceptionally unpleasant if you dig your heels in. I would be more grow some wings and try and fly above the situation. I always remember when my daughter was getting bullied at school, and in primary school when she was little, we used to pretend that she was on a unicorn and we used to fly her above the school so that she didn't get caught up in it. And this is sort of what you've got to do at the moment. Use the power of intention, every bit of power that you've got to rise above this, because if you dig your heels in, it's going to get dirty. It's going to be difficult. So it's like, okay, I'm just sitting on the outside here, I've got to go with the flow, it's like you know what the big picture is going to bring you. This is just really the light before the, you know, the darkness before the whatever the phrase is, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like it has to change, and you've asked for it to change, you get what you ask for, but it's not going to change the way that you think it is, but you will get what you want on the other side of it, provided you don't dig your toes in. Okay? How can I speed this up? Talk faster? I better come over this side, hadn't I? What I might do is somebody else can be picking some cards while I'm doing this, and then I don't have to do this bit, yeah? Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. So, who's next? Oh my! Okay, we've got 2 majors in this one, so this is another powerful one. And what I didn't mention is that when it's all major arcanas like that, it's the bigger picture, it's the spiritual picture, it's the purpose beyond the purpose. So don't think small, do think big. Yeah. You're the Queen of Love and Happiness. You're the Queen of Cups, so it's really beautiful. So you're a heart person. Okay. What I am sensing here, you're single, right? Okay, not for too much longer, because you've got the Lover's card. It's like it's about to shift, whether you want it to or not. I'm not interested in that. Okay, what it's saying here is like it's like you've resigned yourself to this is probably the way it's going to be, and that's okay. And I'm happy with that, and I'll get on with doing what I'm doing in my life, and that is all fine too. And it's like at the moment when you're doing something and you're so busy doing it, that he's going to just come in and it's like going to like surprise you in a sense, okay? The only thing you've got to have is an open heart, and what I'm sensing here and what I'm actually feeling is like when I'm standing in front of you, I've got like a little prickles happening. Oh, an emotion coming up. You know, so there's a lot of emotion going on there. So what's happening is basically all your ribs are breaking, your heart is coming out, and that means that you have to attract love into your life. It just has to happen. So love is coming in for you big time. And it's very healing for you, very healing for you. So this isn't a flash in the pan, this is a very healing relationship. And what I'm seeing, it's like, you know, the park benches where they go feed the ducks and everything, like I suppose on any movie, but like in Central Park or wherever it might be, it's like you're sitting on the bench, and it's like the first time you meet, he's sitting at this end and you're sitting at that end, and then the next time you meet, you're sitting a bit closer and a bit closer, and finally you're actually like almost like one person because you're so close together, but you're sitting because you're so comfortable with each other. So it's going to happen over time. okay, the actual connection coming in. You're not going to like be sitting right close like these guys, you know, from first off. It's going to be a little bit cautious, but don't close that heart, as that heart is open in the relationship